Friends, colleagues and listeners, we've got a lovely three-part series now ahead of us. And the person that I'm referring to as our guest today is Christos Spyrou. And Christos is the CEO and founder of Neutral Air Partners. So welcome and thank you very much for joining us, Christos.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure being here with you.
Brilliant. I believe you me, it's our pleasure, sir. Now, how it came about, Christos, is at one of the recent conferences, I was listening to you speaking and also, watching the presentation. I found it really, really interesting. And you put a lot of enthusiasm and engagement and ownership into it, which I was really impressed with. So thank you for taking up the offer. Now, what I'd like to do, Christos, because for me sitting there, I was thinking, blimey, I never realised this, and I never knew exactly what was involved. And I just like to get a little bit of clarity for our listeners. So if you wouldn't mind, if we could just start with and I think it's a lovely way to start actually, because everybody's got a story to tell. And what I'd just like to ask you, if you don't mind, is how did the story begin for you?
Yes.
And exactly what did it entail? What have you done? How have you started it? Where do you feel you are now? I'd love to know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, I started in the business since I was 16 years old, actually, because of my father.
Yeah.
My father used to be the oldest IATA air cargo agent in Greece back in 1957. So we used to be the agent of AI back in the days, Airfresh International. So I was going to the office every day and I could learn from the experts back in the days.
Yeah.
And before 1957, 1955, he was the first Olympic Airways cargo manager hired by Aristoteles Onassis that had Olympic Airways back in the days. So pretty much I would say I was born on a pallet, as we say. I loved the business and I was going to the office when I was young. And my father was sending me to AEI for some practice during summer. So that's how, I got to know with the business.
Blimey,
and that was the first part. But even though I was very much attached and engaged with the air cargo industry, Greece was a very small market.
Yeah.
Now and back in the days. I mean, there was not a single freighter coming in or out.
Yeah.
It was pretty much an import market. So me being in UK, New York for, with training experience with AI and in Frankfurt, you start to have, I would say, more expectations about yourself and about the industry. So I will not make it long. I mean, to make it short, I was fortunate early 2000 to go to China in the good days of China.
Right, yeah.
And I will not explain how. That's another maybe podcast. It's a long story. So I was very lucky because I found myself in China in the right days when China started really booming. It was early 2000 when the World Trade Organization, WTO, forced China to open the air freight and logistics industry to the foreigners. I mean, back in the days were state-owned. So it was the first investments of Europeans and Americans going into China. So I was there at the right days. And this is where I realized how different is the procurement model in China. And of course, I found myself in a very large market, big business. So I stayed over there. I had my own company. I set up my own company. At the beginning, it was a joint venture with a Hong Kongese partner. And we started operating as a neutral air freight wholesaler, as a consolidator. So we're a broker between the airlines and the freight forwarders. We're conducting block space agreements with the airlines, and then we're reselling back to the agents.
Right.
And that was for more than a decade, more or less. Then we sold the company to a large neutral NBOCC, an American NBOCC. I stayed for a few years. And then I had the idea early 2016 to start Neutral Air Partner. So,
now, sorry, I just firstly, I remember the old AEI days myself, back with Dave Lara, who was infamous there, I would say, and then he went on with Siva. So I remember the AEI days particularly. But now, when you sold the company and when you decided to start Neutral Air Partners, what was it that you wanted to do differently? Because I love the term that you use, and it's all over your presentations and the website. Air cargo architects and aviation specialists. What a wonderful title.
Thank you so much. It's a very good question, Chris. Thank you. I mean, I would say there were two factors. The one was we had a study about the logistics networks that exist around the world. And we realized there were hundreds of logistics networks back in the days, but all of them, they were related to multimodal freight forwarding. There was nothing around air cargo. And we talk about commercial, right? I'm not talking about the associations that exist, but commercial networks. So that was the number one. So we saw an opportunity that, first of all, we know the business. We speak air freight.
Yeah.
My partners, and we could properly create a network of leading and independent local heroes around the world, categorized and filtered by industry expertise.
Yeah.
That could be being a consolidator or a master loader or an air freight forwarder or a time critical specialist, a local GSA, a chartered broker, you name it.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the idea the first factor, I would say. The second one, and the most important, with my experience in China so many years, it was the procurement model of China, the air procurement model. So back in the days, even now, you have dozens of airlines in China, and the business model, the procurement model, I mean, what they do is like they will sell the entire capacity all year round to a number of 10 or 20 so-called master loaders.
Yeah.
And they will sell that capacity under BUPs, we call it like build-up pallets. Under an equalization period over a month or 2 weeks or a week, where the master loader can aggregate the container's actual weight over a period of time and make money out of that and develop products in the business. And that's where the air cargo architect came in, because you have players in China back in the days where in order to build the right products, there's so much to do behind. It's like building a villa, right? You need to design properly how to build your pallets, how to mix dense and volume cargos, how to take advantage of the equalization period. So we had weeks where the 1 week you have dense cargo for one region, then you're looking for volume the next week. So you gotta get that business coming in. And that's how the idea of, I would say, the sentence air cargo architect came in, because these people, especially in China, and those people that I learned from, they were really air cargo architects.
And you have to have good access for good sources there to mix when it's necessary. And
exactly.
You go from sometimes volume and dense, and then dense only. And also, let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. What did you find difficulties with people's capabilities, to build pallets off site, and also how they looked after them, especially from the ULD perspective? Because at the end of the day,
not at all.
It's part of the aircraft,
Especially in China, not at all. It's so easy. It's a part of the culture. It's a part of the supply chain. Still in China is the only place where every airline will offer multi-masters for one specific region on one pallet. You can consolidate the high dense of Schenker with the volume of Kuehne+Nagel or the one-to-one of DHL and put it in one pallet.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the principle. That's the principle of the mix from the source. But what I was more focusing on is, how did you find the capability of people to build a good, safe pallet? And also, how did they look after the pallets when they were off site?
Okay, well, safety-wise, obviously there are occasions that you have problem. I will have to admit that back in the days, the Chinese would do everything in order to maximize the pallet's capacity. So in a lot of cases, they would break the pallets and move dirty cartons, or what they were doing back in the days, they were offering two prices.
Yes.
If you want to move a full pallet, it's a different price than moving it loose. That's because they wanted the loose cartons in order to have a better, I would say, better mix in the ULDs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I cannot say that it was difficult. And coming back to the idea of NAP, so first of all, I told you before, the one was to create a proper commercial network of air freight specialists that wouldn't exist back in the days, in 2016. And the second one if you look at the Chinese industry, you have dozens of airlines on different gateways. If you multiply, let's say, 6, 7 major Chinese gateways by 70, 80 cargo airlines,
yes,
by 20 master loaders on each, to be a professional air freight forwarders, you need more than 300 vendors or 400. Because every single master loader is specialized on one airline, one trade lane, one destination. So if you want to really, it's too much. So then we thought we need to create a home for those master loaders and to create a portal and a mobile app where all of these will be categorized, will be filtered.
Yeah.
And then we can expose also the services to the world. And that was the second thing, that was our strength when we started. Because the advantage we had is we started as the first air cargo only commercial network for the third-party air cargo supply chain, right? Because we don't have airlines or ground handlers. We were looking for forwarders, consolidators, charter brokers, GSAs, anything around the third party. That's the network. And then we found a home for those master loaders. So when we started, we had the strength of China.
Yeah.
And that was easier back in the days to build up than the rest of the network with local independent regional experts around the world. So that's how we started. I mean, obviously, I have to admit, we've grown that much, much better than we're expecting on the business plan, because you don't know what to expect. You come up with an idea and, you're building a network, you're not building a business. So you don't need so much, I would say, any crazy paid up capital so you say, okay, we do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, at least I will not blame myself that I had the idea and I didn't try it.
Exactly.
And that's how we started, and that's where we are now. And we're very happy with our accomplishments so far.
No, very good, very good. And that's, I think that's a wonderful way, a wonderful way of approaching something. So, you got the idea, you know that there's an opportunity there, and then it's just a matter of getting people interested and coming together. And when you get that, and you get that common understanding and engagement, it's a very powerful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but I have to admit as well, it has to be the right time. So you can be lucky to be the right time. To be very honest, that's very important.
You're exactly right, and that's that's life itself, isn't it, Christos? So listen, thank you very much for that brief introduction. All right, so what we'll do now is we'll have another session, and in that session we'll look at the members and the partnerships. So Christos, thank you so much for joining us. That's the first of 3 done, and we'll see you very shortly for number 2.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.